Okay, so I had enough on my plate. I ended up not showing you very much from yesterday at all, but the car made it back from Myrtle Beach to East Tennessee with a, I believe, dying fuel pump because the Berryman B12, that's all I did, was started running that, and it made it home. Every now and then, once it got heat in it, I could sense it pulling back like it was leaning out, but it never did die again. So it's the good stuff, yeah. Oh, and some two-stroke oil for added lubrication. I'll be changing that sometime next week. It was supposed to come with a sock for the pump, and it didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sock too and just change all that again. And while I'm in there, make sure all the connections and everything else are actually good. It's really all I know to do. If it had completely quit, or if it ends up completely quitting and the pump ain't running, then I'll know for sure that that's what it is. But when something's intermittent and it's not second check engine light for anything, you can't. I don't know any better way to do it. So it's just, basically assuming that it's the fuel pump. I might end up changing that and it might start doing it again. But at least at that point, I know that it ain't. So I just have to change stuff until it quits doing it. Dad had a good idea, and I'm probably going to do that. He said to put a test slide on the wire back there at the fuel pump and see if it starts flashing when it starts dying. Make sure it's actually keeping fire to the pump. It could end up being a connection up under the dash or something, because pretty much every one of them on this car, every one of the connections on this car up at the fuse box and everything else, a lot of them were melted together. And I had to get all that back apart. And when I put the car back together, I had to get it all back together. So, I mean, there's stuff everywhere on this car that could be causing the problem. You never know. But I had driven it 6,000 miles, really, with no problems up to this point. And then I changed the fuel pump, and it made it 400 miles and started messing up. So, kind of, look the last place you did something. And in my situation, the last place I did anything was right, 50 miles before the trip to the beach. I put a fuel pump in it. That was a used fuel pump. And then it started messing up. Anyway, that could be unrelated. I'm kind of leaning towards being the problem, though. Plus, a couple mechanics and stuff I know, anytime something sets for 5-6 years, he pretty much, one of them anyway, pretty much says you're going to have a fuel pump problem. They end up gumming up after that. So ethanol turns into sticky, basically sugar, and just sticks, varnish, and just sticks the pump. That car that pump came out of set for 5 or 6 years. What do, you know? Anyway, I'll show you more when it comes to that. I'm going to go ahead and release this video, and then we'll work on something else for a while.